It is Friday, January 30th. I'm Geoff Schwartz. That is Matt Ford, the Geoff Schwartz Smart. You presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours. And Matt, there is no football game this week to preview. Super Bowl obviously coming very shortly. And we're here to just talk ball, life. I was not planning to have a rundown. Then you emailed me and said, we have a rundown. I was just going to talk. I was going to talk for an hour straight, see what came out of my mouth, good, bad, and different. How you doing, buddy? No football this weekend.
I know, man. It's kind of bizarre. It's funny. I mean, you have probably had to juggle this a little, but you've got a slightly different situation as talent. But like with a family, I find Sunday so stressful because I'd rather just be watching football, but I have my other commitments in my life that I have to attend to. And the whole day I'm getting texts, I miss stuff, I'm answering emails, I'm like it's stressful. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, I can do my work, but it can be at my convenience. And there's not like I'm not, oh, and then there's my fantasy game and my bets that we just keep losing all the time. Like it'll just be I'm excited for 1 week, then come back with the Super Bowl and lock in for that. But then I'm in denial about what's going to happen after that of months and months of no football. But I am excited for like a little break. We should all get a bye week, I think, as fans.
It is nice to not have to like be in front of a TV this weekend.
Yeah.
The only thing that's different is that we have family over every Sunday, and we're still going to have family over Sunday. And there's nothing to watch though. Like
Yeah.
no one's
That
like,
stuff.
no one's like, let me watch the end of the golf tournament this weekend.
Yeah.
Or
Hornets, maybe.
or Hornets have won 5 in a row. They're like hot right now. They're like the hottest team in the NBA right now. I guess I don't even know if I have the channel. I think you have to have Fox Sports Southwest or something, Southeast. I don't have that channel, I don't think. College basketball, dude, I've made this take many times. I can't do college basketball. I had a bet last night where I had a team getting 5.5 points, Matt.
Uh-huh.
They were up six with 6:20 left in the game and did not score a single point the rest of the game and lost by seven, didn't cover.
That's tough, buddy. I
Every
think,
night. Every
yeah,
night.
yeah. It's a strange sport with a lot of variance. But yeah,
Here,
so is the NFL.
here is something that is on my mind for this weekend, though. Right now, there's an 86% chance Charlotte, North Carolina gets at least 4 inches of snow tomorrow on
Oof.
Saturday. Light, fluffy snow, they said, Matt. And that's better than ice last weekend. But my kids might never see the inside of their school for the rest of the year if this happens.
Okay, talk to me about that.
So just like we're just not now. My son's in private school. We had ice on Sunday, okay?
Okay,
Monday the roads were bad, but most of the major roads by Monday were clear. So Tuesday he had a delay. Got him to
okay.
school, private school. He's at school Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. My daughter, even today, Matt, had a 2 hour delay in the morning. It's been over 40 degrees 5 straight days in a row. And yes, there are some icy spots on some roads that don't get any sun, but they're not major roads. All the major roads are clear. And we have a giant school district. It's all Mecklenburg County. And if one or two schools have too much ice, they shut the whole school district down. I don't get it. I know it's for safety. I know it's for maybe too cold in the morning for kids to stand out for the bus. Like I get those things, but man, 6 inches of snow, what they're saying might hit us tomorrow. Wipes out all the kids' sports tomorrow as well, which I know they're going to miss. But I mean, look, I don't think it snowed that much that I've been in Charlotte, so that'll definitely be something different.
Yeah, a lot of the country is getting uh, these winter blasts that are uncommon. My mother-in-law lives in Tampa, and like they're getting like 10 degrees or something stupid like that.
Yeah, dude. So basically, the best way to put this is we're getting like a hurricane style storm, like a cyclone, but it's the winter.
Mm,
So
sounds awesome.
so there could be like locally 10 inches of snow, and in some
Wow.
places not a lot of snow because the band rolls in. You're like again like a cyclone. So as a band rolls in, you might get some snow on the front side of it, and more snow on the back side of it. They're going to come in waves. I'm kind of looking forward to the chaos of just like that itself. The kids are gonna have a great time, but with no football to watch, I guess I'll have to watch basketball, which again, like
Yeah, man. Maybe catch up on your Oscar movies. We can. I wonder if
I
DraftKings has markets for those because that'd
what
be fun.
I've watched zero movies this year. What like new movies?
Yeah,
What are the Oscar
this this is a
categories?
nice flavor of what our off-season shows are going to look like. I mean, I would say the Marty Supreme's a good one, but One Battle After Another is on HBO. I think you can watch that.
Marty Supreme.
Yeah, that's AKA Timmy Ping Pong. That's Timmy Chalamet playing ping pong.
Oh,
Fun
really?
movie, really fun movie. Yeah.
What's the other one you mentioned?
One Battle After Another is Leo's in that.
Oh, okay. I saw
Um,
that. I've seen that. I've seen the. Oh, I like that. They got a gun in the poster. Sign me up for that one.
yeah, yeah, it's fun. It's like a little bit of a political commentary, but not really, and like it's super fun. That's a good one. Yeah, watch some movies.
When's my movie coming out?
Your movie? Oh,
Yeah,
Devil 2.
Devil Two.
Devil 2. I don't know. Well, I'm not locked into the Devil Wears Prada beat it quite as much as you are, but
I'm curious what like the May 1st. Oh, I will be in the
May
theater for.
1st.
I'll
My
be
Sam
in
and
the
my
theater.
birthday, our producer and I share a birthday on May 2nd. So maybe
Well,
we'll all go to a screening in Santa Monica when you move back here because it
Devil,
doesn't snow here.
Devil Wears Prada 2 screening.
Yeah.
We'll make that happen. All right. There is football news. We should talk about that.
Can I just say, Jeff, it's going
Yeah.
to be 79 today, 80 tomorrow
Okay.
in Santa
I
Monica.
I like the seasons. I
Yeah,
It's
I don't
okay to
need
be
them.
cold. Like I don't sweat as much when I go outside. I'm fine with that concept. But it's been cold. Dude, it is so cold that my driveway, like one of my like I don't even know how to put it, but like one of like the concrete like slabs in the driveway is lowered itself and cracked, like destroyed from the weather because it gets up to 45 degrees. It gets 20 at night for 11 days in a row. And the thing is just going, expanding, shrinking, expanding, shrinking, expanding. It just, my driveway is ruined. No one wants to
That's
hear
tough.
about my driveway is ruined.
Well, I'll share one. I'll peek behind the curtain of our production group thread, where last week you were talking about this kid's, I don't know, sports being canceled or something over the
Yeah.
weekend, and Gabe responds, "Seems weather seems fine here," with just like a picture of the beach,
Uh,
and got no response. It
being,
was so
be,
savage and so funny. Like I
being a
after
boss,
that,
right? Being a
I
boss has its privileges, right?
I felt kind of bad, and just with my weather privilege. And then, although we pay handsomely to live here, and then after I saw that text and how hard I laughed, I then decided to ruin all of my other friends' days on the East Coast. It was a real turning point for my weekend. Like everyone was complaining, like everyone with like young kids was like, "How am I going to do this?" And I was like, "Oh well, we just got to make sure Jack has enough sunscreen on when he's at the playground today." Like just cooking people. And it's like, hey man, I've been there. I lived in Chicago. Like I lived in New York City. Maryland was a little colder than Charlotte most of the year. So I hear you. I feel for you guys. California, man, people talk shit about it, but it is pretty nice here.
My kids, by the way, they had a blast sledding on Sunday. Like they had the
Yeah,
best
sledding
time
is
ever.
great. I have some nice memories of all that
So
stuff from when I was young.
they just went down a frozen street. Just it was awesome. It was fantastic. Um, but like the reason we live here is obviously to not, you would like to avoid some of those weather pitfalls living here on the East Coast, but excuse me, the South, I should say, not on the East Coast, in the South. The worst thing about snow, by the way, I saw a video from someone on this. I agree. Like when the snow just sort of sits on the side of the road, it's just so gross.
Yeah,
It's,
it turns gray. It's tough, man.
yeah, not here in
It's tough.
Charlotte. But all right, let's get to some football now. Maybe I don't know. You want to do
Yeah, let's talk
women's
about
college basketball? I've been killing it every day. I made a lot of money in women's college basketball.
oh, well, that seems like a very positive use of your income.
Yeah.
Well, okay, why don't we talk? We didn't do you and Gabe didn't talk about Joe Brady, did
No,
you?
we did not. No.
Yeah, so he was hired, obviously, the offensive coordinator of the Buffalo Bills, promoted to head coach after a bit of a weird, unwieldy search, it seemed like, where couple people were interviewed. It never really felt like there was a true candidate, and then they promote from within. Um, Very strange. I'm curious if you think. Also, reportedly, Josh Allen was involved in the conversations, which is definitely something else I want to get into. I'm just curious what you thought of this move and if it was the right kind of thing to do for them.
Okay, so when you fire Sean McDermott and hire Joe Brady, to me, you're doing two things. One, you're saying Brandon Beane, the general manager, is fully in charge of everything now, which they promoted him to basically be in charge of everything anyway. So promotions may be the wrong word to say it, but essentially the structure, what it sounded like was McDermott reports to the GM and the owner at the same time. And maybe there's some personnel decisions that McDermott had. And now Brandon Beane is stepping in front of the coach. So coach reports to GM, GM reports to owner, right? That's the new structure of this. So this hire screamed to me, I'm in charge. We're hiring the guy I'm in charge with, that can be in charge of. Two is that it tells me they think Sean McDermott was the problem all along, which I disagree with. And when you promote from within, you're saying we're keeping everything as is. We're getting rid of the head coach. We're having a new head coach, and we're doing everything we've done the same. But essentially, we don't have McDermott as our coach anymore. I don't love it. I don't love it, Matt. I don't think their problems were McDermott focused. Third, you mentioned Josh Allen part of this. I just fundamentally disagree with players having any sort of say in a coaching search. Now, can you make Josh Allen feel like he's part of the search? Absolutely. But in the end, choosing his boss, letting him choose his boss is not the way smart companies are run. Like I get to choose my boss. Well, you might have partnered with Gabe, so maybe you chose your boss. If you guys are, or you chose, Gabe's not your boss, but you chose like who's do you have a boss?
I think you're my boss. I have like 50 bosses, you know?
Who is
Every
your? Well, I
every
guess you. I'm trying to question.
DraftKings is my boss. No, I mean, you're right. Like I will say
I guess you and Gabe chose to be dual bosses, but I guess your boss would then be like whoever you got, like DraftKings, right? Like whoever like is like you have to report to essentially. Is that
yeah.
right?
Yeah, we traded boss having an actual boss to having 100 bosses. That was what we traded.
Okay. Not a bad trade in my opinion. But again, like my wife's downstairs working right now. She didn't get to
Speaking
choose
of
her
bosses.
boss, right? Like she has a real job actually. I love walking by her office, by the way, as I walk upstairs. And after she's had her seventh Zoom call of the morning, and she looks like visibly like upset with having had all these calls and being like, "Hey, hon, go do some real work right now. Go into my office," and just half time just playing NCAA 26. She has no idea. It just makes me. It's just so funny. But again, like the reason why you don't choose your own boss is because I think you have to be friendly with your boss, but there has to be an ability for that boss to give you hard news, right? To be able to kind of coach you hard. I'm not saying Joe Brady won't do that, but if you hire the coach that Josh Allen wants, to me it's too buddy buddy, right? It just doesn't seem to ever work that way. And then I heard Joe Brady at the press conference. I don't know, man. Some of this again, we shouldn't judge coach off the press conference. I just didn't like what I heard from some of the stuff he said. But I, it, there wasn't a great option, I don't think, at this point to hire, and it didn't feel like um, they really had options at this point. But it does feel like a hire for all those things. Like I just don't think it's going to work out.
Yeah, I mean, to that point, like they fire McDermott, the latest firing in the cycle. They missed on Harbaugh. They missed on one or two others. I forget exactly how it was sequenced now. Like I think they missed on like Sala. Like they missed on a few other like seemingly good candidates. And then in order to do that, you would think like, wow, we really like we had to let this McDermott guy go. Like he's holding us back. And then they just essentially like promote the next guy in charge,
I get it.
which
Don't like it.
is just sort of a strange thing. And then like the people they interviewed, like they interviewed like Anthony Lynn, and he's like the running backs coach for my team now, and for now at least. And like they interviewed all of these random people where it didn't really feel like they were putting their heart into the search at all, to be honest. And to me, it feels like they were saying McDermott's the problem, and like that whole Keon Coleman thing, it was just sort of like, well, McDermott wanted him, whatever. And then that came up again at Brady's press conference, and he was like, "No, I love Keon. Like I stood on the table for him," is what I think he said. So I don't know. It feels a little bit organizationally dysfunctional, which for a
Yeah.
team that's just been as consistent and successful is surprising, I think. Like this feels a little bit more like an amateur hour than something so polished like the
Well,
Bills have been.
what's interesting though is if you listen to or read tweets from people that are fans of the Buffalo Sabres that the Pagulas also own, they're like, yeah, we could see this coming.
Yeah.
Like there seems to be a problem with that. As far as like the Anthony Lynn hire, so the interview, I should say. Do you think the Rooney Rule works like it should, or do you think it ends up being um, just I don't know what the right way to put it, because so the Rooney Rule, you have to interview two minority candidates in person for coordinator jobs, head coaching jobs, and GM jobs. But
Yeah.
so you end up getting the same sort of rotating group of minority coaches that get to do these interviews. And the proponents of the Rooney Rule say, well, that's how Mike Tomlin was hired. That's why the rule was put in place, right? They sort of hired Mike Tomlin. It was like the last interview Pittsburgh did. It went really well, and they hired Mike Tomlin. And you can certainly make the case that the interviews and the process of having to do them, Matt, especially for younger coaches, is really great, right? But I mean, it does feel like a lot of these coaches are just being used to satisfy the Rooney Rule, though.
This has been a very common refrain for the teams that make a mockery out of this process. Like, I, you know, I don't know. I mean, I think in some ways it has. Like, we were talking last week about how nice it is that all of these candidates are getting interviews, and everything is a little more transparent. And, I do feel like there were some just, interesting opportunities for people that didn't necessarily get a chance to have them. But then you look at Buffalo, who interviews Philip Rivers, like they did, they interviewed, they did their due diligence, at least it seems like they interviewed Anarumo, they interviewed Anthony Weaver, they interviewed Udinsky, like everyone else, like they interviewed Davis Webb. But the first interview they did, if their timeline on their website is right, is Brady. Like they knew that was their guy. I think they were trying to figure out if they could beat it.
But here's the thing, though. Um, if you know Joe Brady's your guy, like you fired McDermott to hire Joe Brady, your mind's not going to be changed by interviewing more minority candidates or not.
Yeah, that's right.
And I'm not saying that like what's the right way to put it? Like I'm not saying you shouldn't be open to finding different candidates, right? And I don't want there to be a process that closes out the ability for minority candidates to have an opportunity to be head coach. And the number one problem, and not people surrounding talk about, is like there's not a lot of minority candidates that are on the offense side of the ball that are like play callers. They're all white dudes. Like that's what a lot of guys are getting hired, right? They're offensive play callers. But like if you know Joe Brady's your guy, it does feel like a waste of time to fly in Anthony Lynn for an interview.
Yeah, it does. And now that you mention it, like just looking back at this cycle, there's a few new coaches, but there are no, unless I'm missing somebody, no minority
I
coaches
mean,
except Sala.
the Sala count, right?
Yeah, but he also was a head coach before, so that's
There's
not like
no
he's in the
new.
pool. But like Anthony Weaver is a guy, I think he interviewed everywhere. And Brian Flores is a guy who interviewed in a million different places. Mike McDaniel is a minority who interviewed in a million different places, and none of them got that next step. Also,
Yeah.
Raheem Morris is still like, have you even heard Raheem Morris's name? Like, I feel like
No.
he's still in the mix for the Arizona job, but we haven't heard from him. I'm even wondering like if he's going to get a DC job at this point. Like, it's very strange. Like, so in theory, I think last week I was a little more optimistic, but this week I'm sort of wondering why with all these interviews, like why hasn't anybody been able to, break through? It does seem a little fishy.
I mean, they seem to want to. So a lot of teams that fire their coaches seem to really want guys with head coaching experience.
Yeah.
That's
Makes
what it
sense.
sounded like, right?
Yeah.
So that's sort of my thought on that. And that's what it's my guess of why that is. I also found it quite interesting, Matt, that this was a cycle, and I'm sort of getting frustrated with like the insider part of this. Not me, I don't know anything, but how insiders report on these things, because it's now become very agent fueled, where we get
Yes.
information. Well, so and so pulled out of the job. Now, I'm not sure they actually had an opportunity for the job, and they're just saving face by saying they decided to decline for the job. Now, I think Mike McDaniel had a real opportunity to get jobs. He said no. Like, I think that's real.
Yeah.
But like a 30-year-old offensive coordinator, probably not getting a job right away. But it does feel like we had a record number of coaches say no even second and third interview requests. A lot of those guys are young offensive coordinators. And it does feel like with the money that's in place now to be an offensive coordinator, these guys are making $2-3 million a year, maybe $4 million a year. They're now more than ever just waiting for the right opportunity. I'm not taking the Browns job because I just think that job sucks. I'll go be the OC for Jacksonville for one more year, or go be the OC for the Rams. I do think, though, that the guys that don't call plays, Shieldhouse and Udinsky, is that how you say his name? Udinsky?
I hoped Udinsky is how you say his name. Shieldhouse, I did not know how to say his name.
I think it's Shieldhouse. Shieldhouse, I think.
No
Shieldhouse. They both don't call plays, though. And there's actually a pretty bad track record. The last two hires that, on top of my head, that didn't call plays, Matt Nagy, Brian Callahan.
Interesting.
Didn't call plays. McVay called plays in Washington. I looked this up. McVay called plays in Washington for the last 2 years he was there.
He did. Did Sirianni call plays?
Well, no, he doesn't call plays. Like, that's his thing, right?
But he wasn't before. But we're talking about before. Like, I don't think
Sirianni did.
Yeah, so maybe that's a bull case.
But we all think he sucks.
Yeah, exactly. He did win a Super Bowl, but we all.
I did say that he reminds me of a traffic cone. Just put a traffic cone in place. Eagles fans did not like that, and then they lost the playoff game. They're like, maybe you're right. Yeah. So I just found it interesting in this cycle that there was a wave of coaches that sort of said no.
Yeah, I mean, well, a few things on that. I think the Raiders' job. I think the Raiders are being very deliberate, and they're not chasing. Like, they're in a unique situation because
they want one guy. Who
do they want?
They want Kubiak.
I think they do too. And I think I also think they're being very selective and patient, and they're paying 4 coaches. Like, they were not gonna like snap up the first guy. The Cardinals and the Browns situations. The Cardinals maybe because they have some defense, but like, I think those 2 jobs, I do think the market is sort of saying to these coaches, like, hey, if you don't have a quarterback, like, you're going to get fired in 2 years. Like, it's happening faster and faster. Todd Monken to the Browns, we'll talk about in a second. Like, Todd Monken was not getting another head coaching job. That was the one. And he's like, he's in his 50s, I think, like, so maybe 60. Like, that was his chance. So he's going to say, like, okay, we're not going to win this year. I'm probably going to say that in my interview. Deshaun Watson has an $80 million cap hit this year. That's true, by the way. Like, they can't expect to win this year, but maybe he can figure something out with Sanders. I doubt it, but like, he can probably stick around for a couple of years, and then who knows? That's the calculus I would make if I were him. But if I were Mike McDaniel, if I were Grant Udinsky, if I were any of these guys who are not going to lose their luster, right? Like you said it, they're going to succeed as offensive coordinators. I agree that I wouldn't have taken that job or the Cardinals job. Like, the Cardinals job, you have to figure out what to do with Kyler. You don't necessarily have like a great. Are they picking 6th? I think like they don't have like a great pick in a weak quarterback class, so they're probably going to stall out for at least another year. So I think it's kind of interesting, but at the same time, like, wouldn't you then want the chance to hire one of these guys who is more of like the Tomlin model, like sort of a guy where you're like, wow, like, I didn't know that Anthony Weaver would be our guy, but that's our guy, Like, maybe there's a chance to sort of go off the beaten path when the job market is that weird.
But no one did it this year,
right?
Unless Arizona does it. I think Clint Kubiak will be the Raiders head coach. That's my guess.
And he deserves to be a head coach. Like, that offense. We texted last week. We were like in awe of the play calling. That would be really bad for Seattle, but
that's the problem with a defensive coach is you're going to end up getting, you'll end up getting. A situation where your offensive coordinator leaves. Like, that's what happens with a defensive coach.
Yeah, it happens too. Like Mike Macdonald, he left because he's that good too. I guess. Do you want to talk about Monken quickly? He was hired yesterday by Cleveland's, and I kind of feel bad for him. Is that like a weird thing to feel after he gets introduced as the new head coach?
I mean, he'll make $6-7 million a year for 3 years. I don't know. I mean, like, for him financially, but this is the only chance he was going to get to be head coach. I saw the video today he put out between him and Sher. He's been a good offensive coach, but now you need there's a lot of work to be done there. Roster's not as is not great getting older. Um,
You know who else was a good offensive coach? Was
who
Kevin Stefanski.
I know.
Yeah, interesting. I thought there was a
Like,
report by one of the Browns people that the search committee for the team recommended they hire Shieldhouse, if that's how you say his name, but Haslam wanted Munkin. So already, like whether that's true or not, I mean, I doubt that this was like a radio guy in Cleveland that reported this. If that is true, like oh boy,
I if you're Todd Monken, would you rather have been the Giants OC with Jackson Dart for a year? You got a much better job of taking the Browns job. You know,
I,
like
I think I would have taken the Browns job because
just to just
I'm not super sold on the Giants or Dart to be honest.
yeah. Yeah, so you just take the job you can get, man. And again, I mean, there
Might have stayed in Baltimore if that was
everyone
the third choice.
everyone always says, oh, they'll give him like 3 years. They gotta take 3 years to get a quarterback in place.
Maybe, maybe. Did you guys do McCarthy? Did you guys talk about him?
I don't remember, but we can do it with you.
Yeah, we'll quickly do it. I mean, I thought that hire was both very surprising and completely unsurprising, right? Like it is what they want. It's they want another like consistent professional steward, not like I don't think they wanted another coach for 25 years who's going to change their culture. Like I think they wanted a guy who can just like get them back into the playoffs. And I think and they wanted an offensive guy. So they picked a Pittsburgh native who to his credit got like very emotional about going back there. Um, and I think I don't know, I think he'll do a decent job. Usually it takes him a year or two every stop, but then he'll figure it out once they get a quarterback. But just a strange division of coaches now. Like Minter makes sense for Baltimore. McCarthy, you're like, all right, then Zach Taylor and now Munkin. Like, what a weird division the AFC North is.
Zach Taylor being the longest tenured coach there is very funny,
Yeah. I mean,
right?
do you like that move for Pittsburgh?
So if you were upset that Tomlin didn't win the playoffs, I'm not sure this is the right guy for you. But I will say, and I've said this, he won 12 games 3 years in a row
Yeah.
when Dak Prescott was healthy. He's won
Yeah.
a lot of football games, more than
He
Mike
has.
Tomlin has. The problem
Yeah.
with them, just like every other job we were talking about, there's no quarterback in the future.
Yeah, and their defense is just too old. Like they're just gonna have to
Yes.
gut that thing.
So like this sounds, but like, what are you going to do? What quarterback do you have for the future?
It's tough out there, man. It's tough, and there's not there's only one I think in this whole class that is going to come out and look the part. So
Yeah, and that's the one the Raiders are getting out of all places.
yeah, yeah,
Raiders.
I'm excited for the Raiders, man. I think they're gonna.
We can finally be riding their over from this year.
Yeah, I don't think so, man. Pete Carroll, like he was. I was looking. We'll take a break and then we'll do our season recap. Pete Carroll, I loved for Coach of the Year. That was one of my favorite bets.
Did we finish?
you did not.
I've tallied a lot of those. So did you finish the rest
I
of them?
finished the math. Why don't we take a break?
Okay, we'll
And
take a
I'll
break.
reveal
Okay.
it to you. Uh, all right, buddy.
Okay.
We're back. We have. I spent some time this morning doing some math.
Okay.
It took me longer to find the name of this sheet that Hank made than to actually do the math. But I have done the math.
Okay.
And the only question I had was how much we put on Buffalo to win the AFC East.
We never bet on that.
Oh, we never did? Okay,
No.
great. So then our total, we were down 8 units,
Okay.
which is not great. We had some really interesting hits, though. Our best call was, as you mentioned, the Rams to lose in the conference
I
championship
loved it. It's my
game.
favorite wager.
What were we doing? That was a plus 850 hit
Yeah.
that paid out 475 of our fake dollars. In the past, we've done a lot of running back unders.
No,
That
I
was
bet on
sort
that.
of
I bet
our-
on that, by the way, on as well, like in real life.
Interesting. Yeah.
Next year, I'm gonna ask my wife for 10 grand so I could just do all these. But the problem is, look, our wonderful partner DK, they're just gonna limit me immediately when I make 85 future wagers. That's the problem.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't believe that one was a hit. That was our only, we had like one or two other like exacts. We had like a NFC North exacta. that did not hit, but we actually hit that one. I mean, we had the Bengals to miss the playoffs. That was one we went pretty big on. That was definitely, and we took their under. That was one of our big plays. We took the Lions under. That was a nice win. But I think that the big lesson I learned this year was I think there's a good market for like unsexy bets like sacks. And we've managed to spot like we had two sack bets, Benito and Will
Will
Anderson,
Anderson.
and they both hit.
Well, we had three. I think we had Jared. We don't have Jared Verse, or I did Jared Verse on my own, maybe.
Maybe. Let me see.
Dude,
I think we
we've
did
hit
have Jared
sacks.
Verse,
We've hit
but it
sacks
didn't hit.
over. We've hit sacks over every year. It's the best.
It's a really good market, and you were on that this year. Um, Like JSN, we hit that one. His yard total was 975. I think
Yeah.
he hit that in like week 6.
Yes.
Panthers division, that was a nice hit. I think my strategy going into next year, I want to take a bunch of teams that make no sense to win their division. I think every year, like this year, we didn't do that with like Seattle, and we could have. We didn't do that with the Patriots, and we could have. I think next year we just got to we just got to find one of those teams that we're just like, why couldn't they do it? Like we knew the Cardinals and Saints and whatever would be bad, but if there's a quarterback and a decent coach, like I think we have to throw a dart.
I mean, wouldn't next year be like? Wouldn't next year be? Uh, it would be like the Titans, right? It would
Yep.
be the Lions. Would be those
Yep.
options, maybe Falcons, but the number won't be that long on the
It'll,
Falcons.
uh,
And the Commanders.
yeah, definitely. I was going to say them.
That feels
Um,
like those teams to do. Dude, I went 5-0 this past week in my prop bets for the. I'm telling you, man. The sides thing. I might. I can't. I don't know if I could do it next season.
we're going to come back. We're going to come
It's
back. But if you want, we can add in. We can do a second layer or something.
the
Um,
the thing um the thing about uh the props though. I was doing it in my other podcast, my Bear Bets podcast. I got a note from the producer after one of our shows where he said, "Man, you had really good like prop information." I'm like, "Yes, there's 2 games,
yeah.
okay? In a normal weekend, there's 15 NFL games, and then I have to study 100 college football games. I don't have time to do props. Like that's the thing about it, Matt. Because we do two. I do 2 sports. I cover 2 sports full time. It's easier in the playoffs to be very good at props because all there are 4 games. You have time to study and like find exact things you like. So that's like you have to choose. I think we choose sides. So I spend a lot of time focused on sides. If we move to more prop based, I'll probably have to spend a little more time on props, less time on sides. And people will respond. I think you should respond. Why bother on sides this year? Because all the research you didn't help you at all. So, very fair. Yeah, that's my thought on the sides versus props thing.
Yeah, I get it. I just think it's the market's going to correct, and the public's been doing well the last few years. Like the people who are betting on these games are different. Like that's one of the things, we used to talk so much about the difference between the public and the sharps and whatever,
Yeah,
but now like the doors have just been opened to so many more people, and I just don't think the market has. I don't think like the old wisdom has carried over to the new markets. Like the people who we know to be the best bettors out there did not have a good year. And it used to just be sort of like, all right, listen to all these people, come up with 1 or 2 things that you disagree with, agree
yeah,
with, and generally you're going to be positive. And now it's sort of like it's kind of anybody's guess. And I think the markets have like overcorrected to try and
yeah.
knock out the public, but like the public is so different now, and the public is also sharper because there's a million shows like this where people actually know what they're talking about.
Can I tell you something funny? So, um, I think I mentioned this before. There's someone that I fade when they give out some plays. There's many people I fade, and the fades this year did really well. And one of the bartender we talk about with Sammy P, like they just did better than usual. One person I fade in college basketball, Matt, over the last 3 years has been 44%.
Wow.
I've tracked them, I've covered them. This year they're like 60%.
Wow.
And all they do, there's a guy named Greg Peterson, works for VSiN, who puts out his own daily lines for college basketball games. Okay. This person who I fade goes to his spreadsheet. This is Greg Pearson's. I like Greg's great. This is Greg Pearson's spreadsheet. And this person picks out the biggest line differences between Greg's number and the actual line and wagers on that game.
Hmm.
And they're hitting over 60%.
That's
Greg himself is not at 60%. My point is to say that it's been a weird gamble year where people like this that do no homework whatsoever are and use someone else's numbers are above 60%. And the rest of us that actually try to win wagers, Matt, are not doing quite the same.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean that's how Ken Palm used to work. Like I remember when there was a discrepancy with Ken Palm.
It's too much now. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Now Ken Palm is like it's like source material. Like the lines are based off of Ken Palm numbers in a lot of places.
There's no edge on Ken Palm anymore.
Yeah, but like that's how much it's shifted, you know? Like it's really changed in the few years we've known each other.
Buddy, I'm not kidding with you. I have made a lot of money on women's college basketball in the last 2 weeks.
Because it's not a sharp market. It's like a traditional market where
here's what
there's
happens.
like sharps and you know the casinos.
Here's what happens. So these big favorites, I'll give you one. I'll give you 2 wagers I made the last couple of days. UConn was a favorite of 59.5 the other night.
Oh my
59.5. Okay. The game I think was I think they were up 5 after the first quarter.
Wow.
And the number dropped to 43.5. So I said, sign me up. They won by 58.
My gosh, that's amazing.
Okay. Last night LSU was a favorite, I think of like 41, 41.5, 42. They were again up like 3 points at the end of the first quarter. The number dropped way down. I grabbed that one at a good price. And then I also took like third quarter, second quarters, like it's just you can bet these quarters, man. I mean, some of these games, it's like UConn wins a quarter 25-5.
Yeah.
I took second and third quarter for UConn. Okay, it was 22-17 after one quarter. I then took UConn to cover the second quarter, the third quarter, and the full game. They won 21-7 third quarter, second quarter, 31-7 third quarter. Like last night, I took LSU to win the third quarter. They won the third quarter by 16. There's like these like opportunities. Yeah, I took them live. Like I think it was like 17.5. They won by 22. Like these numbers fluctuate so quickly, dude.
I mean that is how it used to be in the NFL where you could get an edge, but
so women's college basketball, buddy. I take favorites. That's it. I just take favorites. I never bet underdogs.
Well, now that we've talked about LSU women's college basketball, maybe we could get to the Super Bowl, which we still haven't talked about 45 minutes in.
Let's do it.
We're going to do our actual bets and props and stuff next week and wrap up our playoff betting contest. But I'm curious, any storylines catch your attention? There was a nice thing about Drake May being a little banged up.
So Drake May has not been throwing the open part of practices this week. And people are theorizing it's because they're trying to like get one on the media. Like, LOL, look, he's not actually really not going to play. I don't know, Matt. I don't know. I don't think you do that in Super Bowl week. I don't think you do that in Super Bowl week.
I don't either. It's also like there's nothing left to hide. It's not week 1. You know what I mean? Like they're not disguising anything. We've got 19 games of the Patriots on tape.
And I know David Chow might not be liked by some. I get it. Do you know that I think my dislocated toe, he talks about it all the time, was like the first time like he ever did like a Twitter analysis of like an injury.
Really?
Every time I see him, he reminds me of that. But like he gets a lot of things right. Again, there's some things in his past and some, I get it. But he's on Twitter talking about this stuff. It's not like he's a team doctor anymore. And he gets a lot of these things right. He's the first one to notice this. And they've been kind of hiding him out of practice. He's been thrown in practice. So, yeah.
What did he say? What did he say?
I think he just said he hurt his right shoulder. He's not really sure what it was, but he noticed that it was a right shoulder injury.
Huh. Noted against Denver. far more concerned. This is Chow. He's more concerned about May's shoulder than Sam Darnold's oblique, which I do think there's this tendency. I was thinking about this with Christian McCaffrey, um, where that Christian McCaffrey thing burned so many people, so many bettors, so many fantasy players last year when it was like, oh, he all of a sudden is hurt. Like, should we take this seriously or not? That now everyone's like in their own heads. And I feel like we all just need to like calm down a little bit and just be like, huh, okay, well, it does seem like Drake May might be a little bit hurt. Like Sam Darnold might be a little bit hurt, but yeah, we have to live with the fact that we just don't know, and it's very
Yes.
frustrating for bettors and for fans and fantasy players. Um, but that is reality. And I do think, sometimes what the media or what the team is telling you is what matters. And if Drake May is not throwing, granted he's got another week, but your throwing shoulder is not necessarily a thing you want to see your quarterback worrying about in the Super Bowl.
Uh oh, we actually have breaking news.
Oh,
The Vikings have fired their general manager.
really?
That has to
Really?
that has to be a Sam Darnold thing, right?
Well, why right now? Wow. That's super surprising. Um, so this is forgive me if I don't get his name exactly right. I've never heard it pronounced. I think it's Kwesi Adofo-Mensah.
Yeah.
He was I mean, he's gotten a lot of credit for they've they have put together a really good defense. He obviously got Darnold's, ended up deciding, to move on. That might have been a big one. Um,
Okay.
43 and 25 under his watch.
So here's my take on the Darnold thing. It's very easy to have revisionist history on this, Matt. But after the two games he ended last season with, they were never bringing him back,
Interesting.
right?
Yeah, but I mean, keep going. I think you're that's a good take. I want to think about that for a second.
But okay, like you had just drafted McCarthy, he hadn't played yet.
Yeah.
Darnold just is a 1 year contract, a bridge quarterback who has two worst games of the season and the most important games of the year. Of course, you weren't bringing him back.
Yeah. Right. I mean, granted, you could have franchised him, whatever, but you're right. Like, if they really believed in McCarthy, then the mistake was McCarthy. The mistake, I don't think necessarily was Darnold, because if they didn't have McCarthy, they probably would have kept Darnold. They would have given
Correct.
him like Seattle's deal with him was like the Mayfield deal. Like it's not a prohibitively expensive deal. Um, but yeah, I think the McCarthy thing is what's going to hang on him. And now, here they are, and they're one of the teams that needs a quarterback, and they're talking about, like they might be like the Kyler Murray team or something like that, which is just crazy to think about when they had Sam Darnold a year ago.
Yeah, McCarthy just they had to go to McCarthy. He's just not very good.
Only one of the 10 picks in his first draft will be a full-time starter. Only two remain on the team. That's of 10 picks in 2022 or 23. As you said, this is breaking news. They brought in Van Ginkel. They brought in Jonathan Allen. They brought in TJ Hawkinson, Cam Robinson. Like they've taken some swings, but this was a pretty good team. Like they ended 9-8 this year, and after 3 years of no quarterbacks, like I just this is I think a lot of teams would be very interested in hiring this guy. Like I I'm very surprised by this news.
Um, I'm well. So my question is like, I wonder if as they approach, like, so.
They hit Daniel Jones too. I forgot.
Man, I wonder why now?
Yeah, why now? So yesterday he said something about Darnold, and I didn't think much of it, but he said something like, "Yeah, like maybe that one's going to keep me awake at night." I think is what he said. Like, some of those decisions come back to bite you. So maybe something like that is why is what did it. I don't
But
know.
I think the biggest issue to your point is that JJ might stuck.
I think JJ does suck, and I think that
Like
was
that's the biggest problem. It's not that he let Darnold go; it's that McCarthy might stink.
yeah, and that they now they have this super expensive roster of defensive players,
Correct.
and they don't have a quarterback still, and they had two starters in their building, um, but they got off of Cousins, they yeah, I mean the year before this when Cousins was hurt and they had to do like the Josh Dobbs thing, like none of that. You can't hold any of that against him. Man, we work with Marlon Humphrey who plays for the Ravens, and you joined that podcast briefly on Monday, if I recall.
Oh,
Um,
did I make it on the show?
yeah, no, it didn't.
Okay. I had the
That's
wrong
the same
Zoom
Zoom
link.
room we use for this. But he said something the other day where he was like, I feel like now coaches and GMs are being treated like players, where if you have like one or two, it's a quick thing where it's like, up, like this person lost a step, like we're moving on. And now we're seeing this with like these quick, I mean, we saw 10 coaches fired this year, and now we're seeing a GM who I'm pretty sure like 20 other teams would have accepted the results that this group had in
Yeah.
Minnesota. So
I
I'm
wonder, like,
stunned
if
by this.
who there's no other openings right now. He's gonna have to spend a year like being a senior advisor somewhere.
Yeah, which stinks. Like that's really unfair to him. If they knew they were going to do this, like, and now the draft is now, if they had decided to do this the day the season ended for them, that's a month ago. Like they could have had a whole different leadership group in
Correct.
place for the draft for free agency.
Yep.
Now they're going to go into an offseason with I don't know what their plan is. Very surprising for a team that's been very competent. Um, Man, people and their decisions, dude.
These teams they move at their own pace, man. Move at their
Yeah.
own pace. All right. Anything else we can get to?
I don't know, man. We do need to take a second break, I think. So why don't we do that and then we can quickly talk Super Bowl week
Okay. Sounds good.
and sign off. All right, buddy. We got some
All right.
nice Vikings GM talk. Breaking news here. Quick Super Bowl. We're gonna. Are you and I gonna go to the substation to check this thing out? What's our plan for that?
We actually have to figure out a time we're recording, by the way, next week because I will
Yeah.
be traveling on Friday. So, and maybe we are you guys gonna have an in person like setup like on Radio Row somewhere for any of your shows?
I'm not sure what we're gonna be doing, but maybe.
Can we see what the DraftKings set looks like and get an hour on the DraftKings
Oh my
set
God, I would love that. Maybe we can. I'll let me
on
ask
Thursday?
our friends.
Thursday, Matt. I'm free Thursday.
I would love to do that.
That'd be a lot of fun. Why don't you send a note to someone and see if we could use a DraftKings set? They got to have an hour somewhere where they're not using the set.
Absolutely. Let me make a reminder to do that.
Okay.
Cool.
I think it's quite simply this, Matt. If Sam Darnold plays like he can and has, they're going to win this game by 7 points or more. He plays like a pumpkin, they're going to lose. All right, like that's how the Seahawks are better everywhere,
Yeah, they are.
all over the field. And that's what it comes down to me. I mean, New England, this is the type of game where sort of like the luck runs out, if that's what you want to, the way you want to phrase it.
Yeah, it does feel like that. The line is still at 4.5. It opened 3.5
I got three
right
and a half
after the
immediately.
game.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was looking at it. If I were in a legal state, I would have. And it's at 115 now for Seattle, which must mean maybe this Drake May thing. Some people are starting to catch on. Um,
I will say, when I come to California, I download DK predictions. I think I think that might be the path to go for a few days.
yeah, that's a good idea. I haven't dabbled in that yet, but now I've got that app open. Oh man, I could take Novak Djokovic plus 257. That's the first thing that shows up there.
Dude, I got a message from a friend who I trust. Hey man, I don't care what Sinner is, lay it on Sinner. And
Really?
I was like, oh, okay. Minus 1,200. He's like, yeah, too cheap. So I parlayed it with a basketball bet last night to get it to like, I got it down to like 120, minus 120. and I won the basketball bet, but obviously Center lost today. I'm not. You watched it. It was super early for you. You didn't see much of it, I would imagine.
I saw the a bit of the Alcaraz match. I didn't. I woke up to the end of the Sinner match, and I was like, "What is going on here?"
I'm not an expert in tennis, well, of course not, but I will tell
I
you this.
actually am, so I can
Oh,
talk to
really?
you here. Yeah.
Okay, so the same thing that applies in football that I say all the time apply in this game in this match, where I always talk about how more often than not someone loses than someone wins. And Sinner absolutely lost this match. Like, and from just a novice, I'm a novice. Like, he made so many errors in this match where like Djokovic just didn't make mistakes. Like, he clearly conserved energy sometimes. He's like, I'm not returning that serve. It's too good. I'm not bothering with it. And just like did enough pesky things. And he even did like again, this is dumb, very dumb tennis talk from me, but like that Chris Fowler does it, right? Or Reese Davis, who's
Chris
the
Fowler.
Chris Fowler. He talked about like he did a change up serve one time where he just like he lobbed a serve that was super slow, and Sinner just like didn't get his body over to hit the four. He just like hit it out, like stuff like that. Where just like he made mistake. He was a 40 love. Sinner was, and lost the point at the end on the like he just made mistake. So from like a novice football guy perspective and sports fan, I noticed that in this match it was just that Sinner kept making mistake, and that cost him.
Couple things. If you're still listening, you're not turning off tennis talk. So, Djokovic is the most mentally tough, maybe athlete I've ever seen. Like there's nothing that can phase him. He has the advantage over everyone he's ever played, including Nadal and Federer. Like mentally, he always has a plan. He always has a move. And like tennis is like UFC fights. Like if you ever see a UFC fight where Djokovic was plus 800.
That was
Like
insane.
Novak Djokovic is the best tennis player who ever played, unfortunately. But like you just take him plus 800. I disagree with your buddy. And Sinner is not quite that guy, is my take. Alcaraz is one of those guys. Sinner isn't there yet. We have to see it before we start putting him in the all-time conversation. He is not quite there.
Has he not been as good post the steroid thing?
No, he's been good.
Okay.
He's been good. He's just like not as, you know, winning like he might win like 10 slams. That's awesome. But I think Alcaraz might win like 25. Like
how many has Djokovic won? 24, right?
24. Yeah. I mean, the numbers are staggering. Like do you remember Andre Agassi?
Yeah.
So he was considered an all-time great. His biggest career accomplishment was he won the Grand Slam. He won all the tournaments, and he was the first person to do that since 1969. Alcaraz might do that by age 22.
Maybe the youngest ever if he wins Sunday, right?
Yeah, but he's going to do it, and that would be incredible. Federer did it, whatever. Djokovic has done it 3 times. Like there are levels to this. So when we talk about Sinner, like he's not there yet. Like he doesn't belong in that conversation yet. He might end up being more of an Agassi, where I think Alcaraz is going to be one of those, one of the top 5 ever.
I see here, Djokovic hasn't won a title since 2023, right?
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah. I mean, he's Matthew Stafford's age. He's older actually, and he's got no teammates, and he's running for 6 straight hours. Tennis is a brutal sport. I know our producer Sam, a fellow tennis player, is nodding along. It is a torture chamber mentally.
Okay, what's with all the people? What's with the people on the internet upset about like the injury timeouts that people are getting?
Okay, so those are basically like, you remember when in the NFL when they used to like, if there was a 2-minute drill and the defense was getting burned and someone would go on a knee and be like, oh, like my oblique.
Yeah.
And then they changed the rules so you can't really do that anymore.
Yeah.
That's kind of what these guys are getting. And the top guys, like it's sort of like the NBA where like you get a few extra calls, is at least what they say.
Okay.
So last night, Alcaraz, I think in the 3rd set, said he was cramping, but he just needed a second, I think. And and his opponent, this guy Zverev, who never wins anything, but always like kind of gets there, was like, this is crazy. Like you protect these two, meaning Alcaraz and Sinner, which is probably a fair call out. But what are you going to do if he's like, I'm cramping, I can't move? You're going to be like, okay, like you get your 5 minutes or
correct.
whatever.
Another buddy of mine, Sipper, the Sinner guy, told me right before that match to bet on Zverev. Is that how you pronounce his name?
Zverev.
plus whatever it was,
This guy who you're
600.
talking to it does not know enough about tennis.
No.
Just
Different
telling
guy.
you.
Different
Okay,
guy.
okay, okay.
No. Sinner was someone else.
Okay.
The other guy was like, hey man, just like FY, he was winning 5-3. And he
Yeah, in
blew
the
it.
third set or something.
No, in the fifth set.
Oh, in the fifth? Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah. The thing with Zverev is not a champion. Zverev, a great player. He always gets to the semis. He's gotten to the finals a few times. He can't get over the hill.
I think the thing is that like he has beaten Alcaraz before, right? But not in the finals.
Yeah, there's a difference. And
well, I know, but like that was his thing. Like, but he that went five. Yeah, if it went 5 sets, he was up 5-3 in the final set and lost 7-5.
God.
So it was close. Like it wasn't like we were close to getting that.
Yeah,
and Alcatraz came back and won at the end.
Alcaraz there are levels, and these guys like these. I'm telling you, like Sinner would have lost that, and Alcaraz doesn't. Like there is a different gear that Alcaraz is in that camp with those top three guys.
Okay, so now that we're here, okay, so Alcaraz minus 320 to win. What are we doing?
I mean, I think that's a fair number. I think that the market sort of corrected and was like, we shouldn't make Djokovic a minus 600 or plus 600 underdog.
What about total? Time? What about total games? Is this going 5? It's going 5 sets.
It's hard to handicap because you're basically saying, does Djokovic have it in him? I mean, Djokovic will have a totally different recovery than Alcaraz. Alcaraz will be ready to play this match by tomorrow, and Djokovic is going to need every minute between the end of that match and the start of the next one just to get his body ready.
That's what Chris Fowler was saying. Chris Fowler was saying that the winner of the Sinner Djokovic was going to have like get back to the room by 4 a.m. and it was going to be like multiple hours less recovery than the previous match.
And he's 17 years older. Like there's a huge difference in what he needs to do just to get ready to play after 2 weeks of playing. I would say Alcaraz.
What's game spread? So that means if you count like how many games if you add up the games they win by.
Let me take a look at this.
So game spread.
I do believe that is what.
So it's minus 5.5. So if he wins like 6-4, 6-4, 6-4, that would be a cover.
Yeah, that's right. But that would be. I can pretty much guarantee you that's not how it's going to go. Like. Djokovic is a really scary opponent to play here. I would say that Alcaraz could just like get up on him and just dominate if Djokovic just runs out of steam, which he has done in finals, even when he was like at his peak.
Can I give you my toxic thing I was watching today? I was like, you know what? I think I could get my racket on one of those serves. I don't think return it, but just like, can I get my racket on the tennis ball?
You want to try it?
My answer is no, of course. I was at a New York Giants event at MetLife Stadium, and they had like the first alternate for like a junior ping pong USA team was there. So like 15 girls went ahead of her. She was the first alternate. And she served me some ping pong serves, buddy. Oh boy. Didn't touch any of those.
Yeah, that's harder. I think if someone could so I can probably still get to about 95, 100 if you want to try.
Really?
Yeah. If I practice for a couple weeks, yeah.
I didn't know you were into tennis like this.
Yeah.
Wait, do you and Sam play each other?
We have. We've only played once.
Wait, Sam played college tennis?
Sam did not play in college, I don't think. I don't want to speak for Sam, but Sam has a massive forehand.
What if I watch you guys play but in a chair? Can I do that?
Yes. That would be the perfect runaround for our show. I think you could if you held your racket. The pro players are so good that you could say like I'm holding my racket here and hit this, and they can. And your arm, it would be like shooting a gun the first time. Like your arm would just fly back. It's fast.
Wait, have you shot a gun before?
No, I never have. I don't know why I
I was
chose
about to
that
say, I was
analogy.
about to say, I was like,
Have
you
you?
liberal. I've shot many guns. I'm just curious. I'm like, are we allowed to admit that? Am I allowed to admit that I've shot
Of
a gun
course.
before? Yeah.
Yeah, man.
The first time
I
I
think
shot a gun, by the
Alcaraz.
way, it was like the so we're in college. We'll end with this. We're in college, and other guys I played with had small caliber rifles and not small caliber shotguns, but had shotguns. And they decided we want to go shooting one day. So we drove like out of Eugene west and found a logging road that like people had used in the past for this activity. And the road had like just like letters. It wasn't actually like a name of a road. It was like IPDT. Like that was like the road. There was no actual name for it. Drive up the logging road, and there was like a cutout where you turn around sort of like a mountain, and you could park in the cutout and throw the clays off the side of the mountain essentially into a ravine. And so that's we decided to go shoot. And so I never shot a gun before. And one of my teammates just loads a shotgun, pumps in and goes, "Here you go, Schwartz."
Oh my
I was like,
God.
okay. Pull. Like, no idea what I was doing. I learned backwards. Like, I learned like how to do everything backwards to now where I'm much more proficient in loading, unloading a shotgun and whatnot. So I've been shooting a couple times more than that here in Charlotte. There's a gun range on the way to the airport here that's packed every single time I drive by. It's completely packed. Thought about stopping in a few times, all right, buddy. I'll tell
All
you
right.
what. Hank said this podcast. I told Gabe this. This podcast is top 6% in in people listening to the end, like retaining listeners.
Interesting.
Yeah, of
Well, if we
Spotify.
put him to the test today.
We did. If you made it long enough to hear me talk about cuck chairs on tennis courts, you have won today's episode. All right.
Please review us, subscribe if you're still listening.
Any last words, Matt?
No, man. I'll see you next week.
Yeah, if you could Thursday DraftKings set on the thing would be awesome. By the way,
Yeah, I'll write an email right now.
All right. Bye, everyone. Talk to you guys next week. Take care, everybody.
Thanks, buddy.